station that stands for Kansas City. This is KCTV 5 News This Morning at 6.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Joe Chiodo anchoring our special live coverage from Oak Grove, Missouri after a tornado tore up the town Monday night. Here we are on Wednesday morning with so much cleaning up left to do. Again, this was an EF3 tornado with winds reaching 150 miles an hour. You can see behind me just how bad the damage is. This is one of just the nearly 500 homes and buildings that are now destroyed. And you can see this pile of rubble is just a result of one of those homes. So the cleanup underway is going to be a huge undertaking. Alexis Del Cid is off today, but Natalie Davis is in the studio in for her this morning. But we want to start things off with Lisa Teachman in the Storm Track 5 Weather Center. Teach, people that are going to have to take under this cleanup effort today, they want to know what kind of elements are they going to encounter with the weather. So what can you tell us?
Good morning, Joe. At 6 o'clock, we do have cold temperatures outside right now. We have dipped down into the 30s. And here's the culprit. We have clear skies. At least we get some sunshine for a good portion of today. Some showers will move in tomorrow. That may complicate some of the cleanup efforts, but I'm not expecting those showers to be that heavy. 35 degrees right now. Feels like 29 with those winds out of the south at 7. Later this afternoon, those winds will be picking up, though. 35 in Kansas City, 41 in Marshall, 39 in Lee Summit. Grab those heavier coats in Bethany at 35. Mostly sunny skies. You'll need those sunglasses for that morning commute. Temperatures at 7 o'clock, mid-30s, upper 40s at 9. The green light continues this afternoon, but hang on to that wheel as those winds will be gusting up to 30, highs near 70 this afternoon. It's going to stay warm for one more day before winter returns, and it's hard to believe, but we will be tracking some snow over the weekend. I'll have that timeline in 15 minutes. Here's Storm Track 5 forecast. Joe.
Yeah, such wild swings in our weather we're experiencing right now, Lisa. Thank you very much for that update. We do want to show you a new video of Drone 5 that it captured here in Oak Grove. From this view, you can see the destruction below, and it is just unimaginable to put yourself in these people's shoes. Neighbors living here woke up to a scene like this yesterday morning, and really they're waking up to a similar scene this morning. There's just so much to clean up that it doesn't even look much different than it did when people went to bed last night. You can see the cleanup efforts are going to be huge. In some cases, it's similar to what we're seeing today. And in Grandview, Missouri, it also got hit pretty bad by Monday night's storm. More than 200 homes there were damaged. You can compare that to the 500 here in Oak Grove. Federal investigators estimate the storm left behind about $5 million in damage. People tell us they are just grateful that the damage isn't any worse. And we do want to update you now on school closures. Oak Grove schools are still closed this morning as they deal with the aftermath of these storms. Odessa schools also canceling classes, and that goes the same for Lathrop School District as well. School is expected to be back open tomorrow morning. Here in Oak Grove, you need to put yourself in these people's position and realize that this is one of 500 homes. But it's tough to not feel like you're one of the unlucky ones when you get hit by a storm like this, because the sun is just now coming up. You can't see it, but to my right and to my left, there are homes that all 4 of their walls are up. So this tornado, it picks and chooses where exactly it hits. And that same story goes for the cities that it hits. One other city that felt extreme damage from the tornado was in Smithville. KCTV Jessica Reyes is there right now. Jessica, what's the update from you this morning?
Good morning, Joe. Well, the damage here in Smithville, it really is hard to see. This home right here that is actually right next to us, completely untouched, you can see, still has its roof, all the walls. You move just a few feet away to where we are standing. This home, though, destroyed by that EF2 tornado that hit. It's missing its roof. Yesterday was boarded up because the garage door is missing. That garage door now right here, sitting in front of the home. It's right now on the driveway, so you can just imagine how strong those winds were. And while many are trying to put everything back together, there is a call out for volunteers to come help out. But there are a few requirements that the city of Smithville is asking for. Anyone who can lift medium to heavy storm debris, they want you guys out because there's just so much debris here to still clean up. You must wear work shoes, no open-toed shoes. Work at least 2-hour shifts, and something else when it comes to clothing. You want to wear long sleeves just because of how much fiberglass insulation there is out here. And sign up by 10 o'clock this morning. If you don't sign up by 10 o'clock, the city is saying that they will most likely turn you away. Now, everyone who volunteers, they will have to attend a mandatory safety class, and also a word out to everyone who is interested in helping out. The first day, meaning this morning, volunteers will be limited. Live in Smithville, I'm Jessica Reyes, KCTV 5 News. Joe?
Okay, Jessica, thank you very much for that information. And our Stephanie Kaiser is also live here in Oak Grove this morning. She has more on the efforts focused on helping people recover today and helping people get on their way to cleaning up. So, Stephanie, you're at the Civic Center. What can people get there if they stop by?
That's right. Well, people are really coming together to support those affected most by this tornado. Now, we're outside the Civic Center in Oak Grove where Red Cross is setting up shop. We just saw 2 volunteers go in and open the doors, but we haven't seen anybody else show up yet this morning. But it does open at 6. It allows people to have a place to come in, get warm, get toiletries, and wash up. They will also be offering a hot meal today. Now, over the past couple days, we've seen community members come together to help those pick up the pieces, and we will continue to see that generosity continue today. Now, many local stores like the Blue Springs Home Depot donated items to help people pick up the pieces. And if you would like to help, there are donation drop-off sites at the Independence Community Services League in both Blue Springs and Grain Valley. They're looking for things like non-perishable food, water bottles, as well as things for the long-term recovery like clothing, as well as children's school supplies. So if you're looking to donate those, you can go and help that way. Again, we will continue to stay out here and let you know when and if people show up here to this shelter. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you very much. For more on our continuing coverage of these devastating storms, you can download the KCTV 5 News app. You'll find a collection of videos and slideshows all located on the storm damage page. And that was an app that, of course, helped so many people take cover here in Oak Grove Monday night when that tornado hit. It just speaks to how important it is to heed those warnings, get into a basement, do whatever you can to take shelter from these storms. Because, again, 12 people, about a dozen people injured, but none of those are life-threatening injuries, which is, of course, the best news that we could hear after seeing damage like this. It's almost tough to believe that everybody survived this storm. But, of course, those are the survival stories that we'll continue bringing you all morning long here on KCTV 5 News through 7 a.m. But right now, we want to toss it back to you in the studio, Natalie.
All right, Joe, thank you. New overnight, one person is dead after a crash in KCK. It happened around 10:30 last night on K32 Highway and Kansas Avenue. Police say 2 cars collided, killing one of the people inside. No word on other injuries this morning or exactly what caused that accident. Also new this morning, a body was found inside a burning building in Edwardsville, Kansas. This is a look at the scene from Chopper 5. Firefighters were called to an apartment complex near South 4th and Blake Tuesday morning. They found the body once that fire was put out. The person has not been identified. Only one apartment was damaged by the fire, and thankfully no one else was hurt. Now, to help you start your day, let's take a look at your roads with KCTV 5's Gina Bullard.
Good morning, Natalie. Yeah, no surprises out there this morning yet, which is very good news. Here's I-670 at Baltimore downtown. This is right by the Power and Light District, which today the Big 12 tournament begins, and they're closing off all kinds of roads around the Sprint Center. You can see those marked off here. And these roads are going to be closed off until Sunday morning at 6 a.m. So downtown expected to be congested. Try to carpool, try to take the new streetcar, but it's going to be a fun event for sure. Just keep this in mind. Natalie, I think we need to get on board the streetcar and head down there.
Exactly. My choice is to stay off the roads. That sounds like a traffic headache. Thanks, Gina. Kansas City is rolling out the red carpet for the Big 12. Union Station is lit up in the colors of every Big 12 team, and it rotates between each team's colors every 2 minutes. The men's teams will be playing at Sprint Center. The first round begins with 2 games tonight. TCU plays Oklahoma at 6. The winner will play the top-ranked KU Jayhawks. And Texas Tech plays Texas at 8 o'clock. Just in, President Trump is tweeting this morning ahead of International Women's Day. He says, quote, "Join me in honoring the critical role of women here in America and around the world. I have tremendous respect for women and the many roles they serve that are vital to the fabric of our society and our economy." Facebook is trying a thumbs down option online, but it's not quite the option to give a post a dislike. We're bringing you in-depth coverage also all morning long of those storms that devastated the metro area. All that and more next.
You're watching KCTV 5 News this morning at 6.
Time now is 6:12. Good morning, everyone. You're watching KCTV 5 News. Here's a look at downtown Kansas City. Ain't it beautiful? Lisa Teachman is tracking warm temperatures and another cool down in just a few minutes. But first, we want to get right to Joe Chiodo live from Oak Grove right now. Joe.
Natalie, good morning to you on this Wednesday. Of course, here we are on a Wednesday morning after this EF3 tornado tore through the town Monday night. We're just getting to really understand how bad the damage was. Here I am in what used to be a home, what used to be a place where somebody made their memories. We're here in the kitchen now, completely exposed to everybody in the community as they come out and help families like this clean up from the devastation. It's remarkable to walk around this area and realize just how picky and choosy this tornado was. You can look up here and you'll see there's 2 crock pots just sitting up there on top of their kitchen shelves. Scattered beneath the debris right here are things like children's games. I've seen pieces of clothing. There's a box of crackers. There's letters, newspapers, children's backpacks. It's remarkable to see how much devastation is caused not just by these structures coming down, but by these people losing all of their belongings. But with that said, we've talked to people here this morning who are the emergency response teams who are going around in the area in their trucks filled with food and water, and they tell us the resilience that this community has is remarkable. They say that everybody they talked to yesterday, and our crews out here in the field yesterday saw the exact same thing. Everybody is just thankful they have their lives. They say things can be replaced, belongings can be recovered. However, nothing, of course, can replace your loved ones. So that is the good news out here from Oak Grove this morning. You kind of have to look at it that way when you're dealing with such damage like this. Another area of town that was hit very hard, though, is Smithville, and our Jessica Reyes is there for us this morning with an update on more damage from the storms we saw there. Jessica?
Yes, good morning. Well, I want to show you how this storm worked here in Smithville. You can see this home right here, all 4 walls up, roof is intact. But then you move just a couple of feet and you see this home behind me. You just see all the debris and how much damage it had. Just a few feet to its right, another house intact. The roof is still there. There is no damage. So, I mean, it's almost like these tornadoes really just picked and choose where to hit. This was an EF2 tornado that Smithville saw a couple of nights ago. And like these homes, there are many other that are on the same level of damage. And now that the cleanup comes as the process has begun, this means a lot of rebuilding. But the Johnson County District Attorney does have a call out of warning everybody, all the storm victims, of scammers. Here's what you need to know about it. Don't give any personal information out to individuals offering any door-to-door service. Out-of-state vehicles, tags, and unmarked cars, these are indications of transient merchants. Now, there's nothing wrong with them, but they are required to have a special license, so make sure if they come to your door that you ask for that license. Now, county roofers, if you opt to go with county workers, they are also registered with the state of Kansas. So, again, you may want to ask for that registration. And this morning, protection is key. Here at the entrance of these communities, and we can have a live look, you can see there are those signs saying that the roads are closed. There's even a police officer there making sure the only people coming and going from these communities are those who are willing to help or those who live here. So again, a lot of privacy for these residents who continue to put their lives together this morning. Live in Smithville, I'm Jessica Reyes, KCTV 5 News. Joe?
Jessica, thank you very much. And now that the sun is beginning to come up this morning, we're starting to get a better picture of just how many people were affected. You say 500 homes and buildings, and it's a number, but when you see it with your eyes, it really sets the scene. As you can see behind me, there are just about another dozen homes that are unlivable right now. One bright spot coming out of this devastation, though, is the outpouring of support for storm victims like the people that once lived in these houses. KCTV 5 Stephanie Kaiser is live with me this morning in Oak Grove as well. You're at the Civic Center staff, which is a place where people are going to need to stop by today if they need help.
Yes, like you said, I'm outside the Civic Center here in Oak Grove, and this is where Red Cross is setting up shop. We just saw the lights go on a minute ago, so they are open. It's a place for people to come, get toiletries, wash up, and they will be offering a hot meal today at 7 a.m. for people. So far, we haven't seen anybody go in yet, but they did just turn on the lights a few minutes ago. Overall, people here say that the outpouring of support has been great. Neighbors are helping others just pick up the pieces of their lives, and we'll continue continue to see that same generosity today. And along with people helping out, we're also seeing local stores like the Home Depot in Blue Springs. They have also donated many of items to help people start the cleanup process. And if you're looking to help, there are many drop-off sites where you can donate things. One of those is the Independence Community Service League in Blue Springs and Grain Valley. Now, they're looking for a wide variety of things since people have minor damage to losing absolutely everything. And those include non-perishable food, water bottles for immediate help, but they're also looking ahead to the long-term recovery. They're looking for clothes as well as children's school supplies to really just help people get back on their feet here in Oak Grove. Joe, back to you.
Stephanie, thank you so much. Such good work being done by the people in this community. It's such a strong group of people here that are here in Oak Grove. Already, just about a minute ago, while Stephanie was talking, we saw that emergency response vehicle. It almost looks like an ambulance driving through the streets, but in the back of it, it's stacked with food, bottled water, everything that people here cleaning up today are going to need. And this is going to be a long day ahead of them. Right now, it's coming up on 6:30, and I talked to one of the men driving that truck, and he said he was here till 9 o'clock last night helping people clean up. So a lot to still talk about this morning. We are on until 7 a.m. bringing you live coverage from Oak Grove and the surrounding areas that were affected by this horrible storm. Natalie, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Joe. Pretty incredible to see all that community teamwork joining together to deal with this. Lisa is in the Weather Center now tracking our storms. You know, it's been an incredible run of tornadoes across the area.
It really has, and the National Weather Service is still thinking, okay, where are we going to head out today and take a look at other damage that Monday night storms caused? Well, we have 5 confirmed tornadoes that we want to tell you about. And sure, there are so many other places still experiencing damage, like Princeton on the Missouri side, up in Mercer as well. The folks up in Des Moines, they handled that storm survey. So let's go through some of these right now and talk about the tornado strength. In Oak Grove, where Joe is located this morning, that was the strongest tornado in EF3, where winds there were right at about 150 to 155 miles per hour. Lee Summit had an EF1 tornado, Smithville, Lathrop, an EF2. Plus, we also had these tornadoes as well. Carrollton, you folks, an EF1 there. Lots of damage we hear about there as well, along with Leawood at an EF0. So those tornadoes were definitely so widespread. You want to talk about significant damage across much of the area that folks will be cleaning up today for the next several weeks and potentially even the next few months. This is a live look outside with our Diagnostic Imaging Center's tower cam. We're going to have a quiet day initially, but by this afternoon, those winds are going to become a little bit rowdier for us. That could complicate some of the cleanup effort. 35 degrees, grab those heavier jackets. Wind chills this morning make it feel like the 20s. Those winds right now out of the south at 7. That humidity, that's really, really low for this time of morning, and that's going to be one of the big problems that we'll have going into this afternoon as red flag warnings are in effect. Looking at our current temperatures, 20s, 30s, even 40s right now. It all depends on where you live. But check out St. Joseph. You folks have now dipped down to 29 degrees, 41 in Marshall, 32 in Clinton. All of us needing those heavier coats. Red flag warnings are posted. This in effect at 11 o'clock this morning through 6 o'clock this evening. I showed you how low that humidity is right now. You bump those temperatures up, you take those winds up, gusting up to 30 miles per hour. That is a perfect recipe for grass fires and wildfires to get out of control. So please do your part and do not do any burning today. Those winds, of course, will be gusting this afternoon as conditions remain bone dry. Even the rainfall that we had a couple of days ago, not enough to help us out. Temperatures this afternoon for all of us climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We'll avoid the 70s here in the metro, but 68 degrees. It will feel like spring in a hurry thanks to those southwesterly winds kicking in. 7 o'clock this morning, 34 degrees. Winds will become gustier closer to the lunch hour. 62 will still be in the 60s at 7 o'clock if you're thinking about having dinner out on the back patio. Watch as some clouds will be moving through. This is at 7 o'clock this morning. These clouds will be higher up in the atmosphere. It's not going to shield us from those sunshiny skies, so make sure you grab those sunglasses before you head out the door. In your Storm Track 5 7-day forecast, we do have winter back in store for us by Friday. Temperatures will be falling into the 40s, even the 30s on Saturday. But I want to draw your attention to some rain that's moving in. Late in the day on Thursday, those rain showers will be south of I-70. Better chances for rain, even snow, Friday night into Saturday morning. And Natalie, we may have some light accumulations with this. Maybe an inch or two closer to the Iowa-Missouri state line. And it looks like we may have another light wintry mix going into Monday. Of course, temperatures do try to warm up a little bit Sunday and Monday, but still 40s. That'll feel better than Saturday's high of 36. Back over to you.
Oh boy, just when we thought it was springtime,
Yeah.
Lisa. Thanks. A public hearing continues on a controversial bill proposed in Texas. More than 300 people signed up to speak on the so-called bathroom bill. SB 6 would require transgender people to use the bathroom based on the sex they were born with instead of the gender they identify with. Some say the bill will protect child safety, but others think it's a pointless law and doesn't have basis.
They are putting these children at risk over a problem that does not exist.
They're forgetting about trans men like me. They really are. So when they're saying no men and women's restrooms, where am I supposed to utilize a restroom?
No word this morning on whether it passed last night, but he did say he is confident it will pass through committee. Facebook is trying a thumbs down option online, but rather than giving the people the option to dislike a post, they can send it in the Facebook Messenger app. About 1 billion users have the option right now, but Facebook says it could soon give it to everyone if it goes well. Now let's turn to Gina Bullard, who takes a look at our traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of events going on this weekend. I'll tell you where they're going to be and where you're going to get slowed by those and construction as we get closer to rush hour coming up next. Good morning, everyone. Happy hump day. A great way to start your morning. I-35 at 119th Street. No issues here. And that goes for the rest of the metro right now. We are completely in the green this morning. Now, where you could get slowed up a little bit later today is right by the Speedway. There's going to be some grading work going on eastbound I-70 from Riverview to 118th Street. The right lane is going to be closed starting at 9 this morning. That will wrap up about 4 p.m., so you should be good to go by the time you're ready to go home. But Natalie, things are looking good for your morning commute right now.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Gina. Time now is 6:26. If you have restless kids, you got to listen up. What some movie theaters are offering to entertain them while you get to kick back and watch. New this morning, if it's hard for your kids to sit still during movies, one theater in California is offering a new option. Movie theater chain Cinepolis is using a new in-theater playground concept. Each features a colorful play area near the screen in front of the seats, a jungle gym, and cushy beanbag chairs. The playground areas are expected to hit that chain next week. It's already been a historic first few days for the Nintendo Switch. The company says the new console had better retail sales in the first 2 days than any other Nintendo system. Exact numbers have not yet been released, but the company says it's very optimistic for the future of Switch. Joe Chiodo is anchoring live from Oak Grove and has been all morning. Joe, just a mess out in that area after severe weather just over a day ago. What are you seeing?
Oh, Natalie, you can't even find words to describe the mess. I mean, take a look here. This home is gone. All the debris that was once what made up the four walls of this home are now scattered into the front yard, along with many of this family's belongings. I've seen school papers, letters, games that belong to children, along with their food. Here you can see their TV just smashed and broken apart. But what's most shocking and what really hits home when you're here is you see that this is a place where people made their memories. And you see two crock pots up there above the kitchen cabinets. I mean, it's so strange how this storm picks and chooses what it's going to hit, what it's going to bring down. And now that the sun is up, we're finally getting a better look at the entire area of Oak Grove. You can see behind me more destruction and damage. Maybe not as bad as this house, but then just walk with me over here to my right. This house basically untouched. It's missing a few shingles from the roof, but compare it to the house right next door, its next door neighbor, you know, it's just a whole world of a difference. And then over here, you can see down the road where the sun is beginning to come up. Those homes, too, are in much worse shape than this one. So really, really, really just an interesting perspective once you step foot into the Oak Grove community to see what this storm has done and how it moves from one area to another. And the same thing goes for how it moves from city to city. So all morning long through 7 o'clock, we're going to be checking in with people all over the metro area that's been affected by this storm. But of course, we're going to bring you up to speed on the cleanup efforts that will get underway. today. Before we do that, let's toss things back to Lisa Teachman with an update on today's weather. And a lot of people need to know what's coming at them today while they're going to be up cleaning up all this debris, Lisa.
And good morning, Joe. The house that you are outside of is really a good indication of what EF3 winds can do. How you could have one, maybe two walls of that home still standing, but then one or two walls could be completely gone. You could have roofs that are completely lifted off and then other homes that are just fine. Right now, looking at our current temperatures, 35 degrees in Kansas City. You're going to need the coats this morning, even some temperatures that have dipped down in the 20s. It is a beautiful look down on the plaza. A few clouds, feeling like 29 though, with those winds coming in from the south at 7 miles per hour. A nice warm up is in store for us today. Your bus stop planner. Temperatures will be jumping to near 70 degrees this afternoon. So while the kids will need the heavy coats at the bus stop this morning at 34, remind them that they will need those coats later on because it is going to get cold heading into the weekend. Get ready for highs in the 30s plus a little bit of snow. I'll tell you when you can expect that in 15 minutes in your Storm Track 5 forecast. Joe.
Okay, we are just talking about all kinds of weather this week, Lisa. Thank you very much for that update. Hey, not far down the road in Leawood, some 40 homeowners are in cleanup mode as well after the storms tore up their homes. Neighborhoods like Steeplechase and Camden Woods took quite a hit with trees down and backyards just torn up. A lot of people are also without at least a portion of their roof.
We could hear the wind pick up and could hear some of the windows rattling, and then it just suddenly got extremely loud, and we just knew. My husband and I looked at each other, and we just had this instinct. We just knew it was time to get into the basement.
And so thankful they did get into the basement, just like many people here in Oak Grove. Officials say a tornado did not, in fact, touch down in Leawood, though. But they tell us the rain and the winds were still so severe. And conditions were not the best because when that storm rolled through, it was already dark outside. Meanwhile, Oak Grove, Leawood, they aren't the only places feeling the storm damage this morning and, coming to terms with just how much cleanup they have to do. Smithville is also an area that encountered a tornado. KCTV 5's Jessica Reyes is there this morning with an update from Smithville. Jessica, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. It's Smithville. This is one of the two communities that was hit by an EF2 tornado. Yesterday, residents had all day to clean up, and now that the sun has come up, it just puts into perspective how much more cleanup there is here in Smithville. This right here, this is a garage door that's lying now in the front yard in the driveway of the home, but obviously this doesn't belong here. This garage door was ripped from this home right here. They've had to put up a giant board here to try to secure their home as the cleanup process continues this morning. Now, while many are still trying to put everything into perspective, trying to put everything together, there is a call out for volunteers to come out and help them. But there are a few requirements that the city of Smithville is asking of these volunteers. Anyone who can lift medium to heavy storm debris, obviously a lot to pick up and clean up here in Smithville this morning. Everyone must wear work shoes, no open-toed shoes, and also long sleeves just because of how much fiberglass insulation is out on the streets, on the front yards. And now, something else people need to know who want to volunteer, everyone must sign up by 10 o'clock this morning, so just a few hours left. We are told if you want to volunteer and you don't sign up, you will most likely be turned away if you just show up here to Smithville. Now, all volunteers will have to attend a mandatory safety meeting, and today, the first day, there will be a limited number of volunteers accepted here in the Smithville community. Live from Smithville, I'm Jessica Reyes, KCTV 5 News.
Jessica, thank you very much. Oak Grove schools are closed this morning from the storms. They were also closed yesterday. Odessa schools also canceling classes, and that goes the same for Lathrop School District as well. School is expected to resume come tomorrow morning. Almost immediately after this tornado hit, come Tuesday morning, people were lining up to help everybody that was affected. Again, just to put this into perspective, this is just one of nearly 500 homes and buildings that were damaged.